What's up, my friends in film fandom, wherever you may be and however you may be watching? Thank you so much for giving us a little bit of your time. We're going to continue our trip through the apocalyptic wasteland for this Fallout Season 2 on Amazon Prime. Here to talk about it all with me, of course, in full uniform, as always, because he's better at dressing for this stuff than I am. Is my Heather Life Mage Jeremy. What's up, brother?
It's not like I probably, at this point now, have a shirt for every day of the week and probably then some of Fallout, if not specifically Fallout New Vegas, because, again, that's where we're at. That's where we're at for this season. And again, I'm excited. I planned on wearing this shirt, but I didn't plan on my quote from this episode actually working in tandem with it. That's actually kind of makes me happy. Having the Lucky 38, which is, of course, home base for Mr. House. And we all thought Victor was going to say what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, but apparently not. Apparently over about 200 years, it's changed to everyone's a winner eventually. So,
well, technically the bombs went off before that catchphrase became a thing. So if they don't say it, I guess.
Yeah, you're just kind of lucky to be alive at this point. Like we said, all kids are dead by this point. It's like, yeah, or by this age. That's what they said.
That's true. BJ, good to have you here as always. Always thinking you're very awesome. Van, what's going on, brother? Haven't talked to you in a while. Hey. Hope you're doing well. And of course, your better half reminding you that you have more T-shirts than my girlfriend does. So,
well,
your wardrobe is full.
Most of these probably came from her. I know this one did specifically. So, yeah, and I enable myself. So it's a joint effort.
She's keeping your addiction under control, is what it is.
At this point, yeah, probably.
But I mean, let's get right into it. Not a big episode as far as events, but there are some big narrative things that happen in this episode, and let's go ahead and get right down to it. We are obviously joined in this one by the Legion. As I get up to where all my pictures are, we get joined in this episode by the Legion, which is obviously a very big part of the game. I know.
Yes.
My question is obviously not as steeped in the video game lore as you are. The big question that I have is exactly what is the Legion and how significant are they in the game when they show
up? Well, in terms of Fallout New Vegas, I got ahead of myself here. I have a different tab open for Caesar or Kaisar, which I refuse to fucking say, and I'm glad the show actually addressed that and how fucking ridiculous it is. I'm glad somebody like Lucy is at least well versed in these kind of things, and again knows how ridiculous some of this stuff is. But again, throwing stones in the wrong glass houses, Lucy. Hold on. Caesar. Oh, look, when you go to search for Caesar, it says Caesar or Caesar. I'm like, I know what you're trying to say, but you can't say it texting. Sorry, I have to type here. I mean, I can ramble. They're a pretty big, important faction in Fallout New Vegas. As I had to do it. He's off there on the right, as you see. When he took off his helmet and turned around, I'm like, Kevin! I had to do this thing. I
think a lot of people, even though they knew he was going to be here, just kind of giggled when they saw his face.
Yeah, we all turned to Catherine O'Hara for a second. Kevin. He is quite a ways from home, but not exactly alone. He's apparently the legate, which is kind of like I said. If there was one step below, like the Caesar himself, it would be the legates. Which, I mean, to be fair, that helmet, that little beardy Cthulhu-looking helmet, are pretty slick looking. I'm not gonna lie, but that's kind of what he is, and it threw me for a loop. Cause I thought maybe he was the leader, or at least like maybe the Caesar's son, who we saw is actually dead. So we do have a confirming canon event that the Caesar from the game is dead, which caused this split between the Legion itself and there's two different factions, and now they're civil warring with each other, which is interesting. To be fair, I was like, yeah. Well, there he is.
So that was main Caesar, who died apparently a long time ago, judging from the looks of his
Yeah.
remains. And
Yeah.
apparently, that small note that you see in the bottom by his hip is the name of his successor, and neither one of them can really get to it because as one side gets near it, then the other side starts fighting. So whatever.
Yeah, I'm glad I have a still shot of it now, like this wide shot, because I'm like, well, there's that weird power glove, whatever weapon that's on his arm there, that little boxy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that is a thing that he does wear in the game. It's a little more clean. It's like a whitish kind of metal, so it has been there for a hot second. That's probably about as close as we're going to get to it, and I'm assuming with how the episode ended, we may not actually know. But like I said, in the game he has a pretty severe brain tumor, which can be a quest line for him if you do his missions or decide with him or something like that. And a very cleverly named quest. And instead of Et tu Brutus, it's Et tumor Brutus, because they like word. Yeah, Bethesda. Or Obsidian. I'm sorry. Obsidian made this game, not Bethesda. I had to remember that. Just a quick thing on Google search. The Legion's a brutal, authoritarian, and expansionist faction in the Fallout universe, modeled after ancient Roman Empire, which we saw, that operates in the American Southwest. Led by Caesar, it has a slave army that conquers tribes, enslaves, kills anyone who resists, and imposes order through extreme violence, crucifixion, and a strict patriarchal hierarchy. That's a hard thing to say. It brings stability and stability to lawless areas. Good lord. Its methods are merciless, treating individuals as expendable tools for the collective good. So yeah, they if you know what Genghis Khan's about, I mean, they're also that's probably a good day for you if you're lucky. Unfortunately. So yeah, that's pretty well represented in this game. I think they are kind of terrifying in their own right, because as we saw, Lucy kind of got her little T-pose Jesus moment. Unfortunately for most of the episodes, which sucks. But yeah, you. I was gonna say you're lucky you didn't actually get crucified. Didn't get the nails to the hand. So again, that probably got off on a lucky streak there. Yeah, it was cool to see him, and I think that's about as close as we're going to get to anything that kind of directly relates to the game, because this is all about less than 10 years after. No, I'm sorry. Vegas was 81. This is like 96. So sometime after the game takes place.
Explain to me their civil war, because I don't know if it's the same way that they describe it in the show as it is in the game. Obviously, there's this guy sitting there. There's two different factions of this legion. Both of them have leaders who think they are the heir apparent. Every time they try to figure out who's on that piece of paper, everybody starts to fight again. And that's where it shows up. But explain to me their civil war. What is it? If one side was to win, what would it look like? What is their ultimate goal if one of them was to take over?
Well, it would probably help to at least have some sort of order, somebody in charge that actually, I mean, I get it. That would be a pretty important thing to know who in fact is the successor. Excuse me. But, and of course, there would be the power vacuum, and there's now these false Caesars, and they're at a standstill. So I think it was, I mean, I'm going to ruin a little bit of the ending, but it was kind of used to their advantage that like they're just at each other's throats. So it's like they're willing to just kind of kill each other, and then maybe the problem just solves itself. They'll just fight amongst themselves. So this is kind of which we're seeing kind of being mirrored by the Brotherhood too. Like if you want to stand together and have, this, I assume you all have this same common goal. You can't be squabbling with each other, so because it's not going to go anywhere. So yeah, you're going to lose your foothold. It's like when you say you have a leaderless army. That's not a good thing. So if they really want to put their foothold into the Mojave or just anywhere in the wasteland, you might want to figure your shit out first. Because again, I know everyone wants to clamor for that spot, but Yeah, unfortunately, it's kind of left to one guy, and I don't know why. Yeah, we're at this no man's land here with the two of them. So, and I worry about the other bigger faction we even see is the Brotherhood. I don't want to believe that the only people in the NCR are these like two boneheads that are just out in the out in the middle of nowhere with the one woman who at least still has her mind together, and the other guy who his mind is completely gone. Unfortunately.
Oh, is that his two friends that he runs into?
The ghoul, yeah. Because I think he had the I'm trying to look at his armor. I think he has the chest plate. I think he was the ranger.
That's John Grease, by the way, is one of my favorite actors. He's been in so many 80s and early 90s. He was Uncle Rico in Napoleon Dynamite.
Napoleon Dynamite? Oh no shit. Yeah. Okay.
Nice. He was also the Wolfman in the fucking Monster Squad movie back in the day.
Nice.
Yeah, he's been in a bunch of movies I absolutely love. Character actor.
Yeah. I'm trying to find a good picture of Caesar. Sorry, like from the game, not from. Yeah, he at least had the ranger armor on, which the helmet, which you've all seen me pull out several times. And the other lady had just like the kind of standard NCR trooper armor with the leather chest plate and the hat and goggles. So, I'm trying to find pictures.
Yeah, there's a picture of the ghoul as after he's had his conversation, he's walking away with his usual disdain for any other life form other than him.
Right.
I relate to him so much though. It's like I understand. I don't like people anymore either.
Yeah.
I wish there was an apocalypse. I'd have a good reason just to avoid everybody.
Yeah, he's kind of got the best lines. He's kind of the realest person in this series, so that's fair. Well, I managed to find one.
Well, while you're looking for that picture, we'll move on to the second part of what happens with the Legion, and that's the ghoul rolling in to make the deal to get Lucy. You know, he walks in and he looks over and he sees her hanging there on the cross, and he's obviously showing a bit of a softer side. I would have thought that he would not have done anything to save her at this point, because while they are together, they have different goals. So he doesn't necessarily need her to achieve her goal to achieve his. I just feel like right now they're just walking the same path, but it could diverge in a second. But he does make the decision here to try to get her out of the situation and save her, which I think is interesting, especially after this all takes place 15 minutes after she tells him to go screw himself and decides to hit the girl that they find with the stim pack. So interesting that he comes to her rescue after she basically told him just to lay there and bleed for a while. But yeah, well, I mean, now there is some stuff that happens in his conversation with the NCR before he goes there, and obviously when we leave this place, you can see the deal that he made. Give me your thoughts on this sequence. How close is it to the game? What do you think it means to the characters as we know them in the show?
I'm still looking. When the ghoul goes in the camp, is that what we're talking about?
When he shows up at the Legion's camp to get Lucy.
Yeah. I kind of wondered too, like, I know we're having this character arc for the ghoul where like he's still kind of having these like softer moments, like we said, where he's because he could have just left and just not tried to help Lucy at all. I think maybe the only point, unless he was just trying to make the point of like, I can still kind of do some good things and be the good guy in certain moments. Because as he said when he left, he's like, well, either I did something good or I did something really stupid. It's like, yeah. I do like that framing device that we keep seeing as we keep getting these flashbacks to Cooper pre-war, before everything happened. And getting more and more of like, how he used to be and how it is still being mirrored 200 some plus years later when he's the ghoul. That was cool that he still had the Zippo ladder from his war buddy, which was cool. After being told that story about how he saved him, and I think that was the question. I think even Rachel asked, because like there is kind of a I guess you could call it a racism like towards ghouls, that most people just don't like ghouls, and it's like I could understand. I mean, yeah, like not the ferals, obviously. That's a different. But people who are just ghoulified and they're just, they look like that, but they're just normal humans. They're just burnt, radiated. They do catch a lot of flack, and it sucks sometimes. Because she asked, like, is he just allowed to wander right in there, just walk through the front gate? And I was like, that's a little weird. I'm like, yeah, I think it's weird that he did just walk through there. But I'm like, but I bet he has something they want, or said like, hey, I'll give you this information or whatever the hell, so I can walk right up to Caesar. To be fair, you can kind of do that in the game too. You can just go into the camp and just walk right up to Caesar, which actually I have to pay. There's my segue. I walk right up to Caesar, and this little bastard's just sitting on this little chair.
There he is.
There he is, yeah. So like I said, you can kind of see the little weird device on his arm. I don't really do much with Caesar except put a bullet in his brain. So I helped. I cured his cancer, his brain cancer. Just a little dash of lead.
Yeah.
Problem solved.
Lead therapy.
no more problems. But yeah, there's Caesar. You do kind of get your slate wiped clean. I mean, you walk out of usually it's when I walk out of the casino. There's somebody from like the NCR, then somebody from the Legion, because they're the two biggest factions warring with each other. They'll come out there and say like, "Hey, you have a clean slate. Anything you've done to our faction, anyone, clean slate. It's all forgiven. Feel free to stop by if you want to go this route or go this route." Like they'll give you a chance if you really want to go there and work for their faction. But I tend to not go that route. I go with the NCR, so that's why I'm still hoping. And I'm like, we saw like 3 seconds of one in like season 1, and now we've seen maybe about 10 seconds of these two guys in this season. So I'm like, where are you guys? Are we gonna explain this? Like, what happened? You guys were the biggest, group of people that had the biggest spread in this wasteland. So what happened?
Yeah, this episode gave me a lot of questions. It didn't answer a whole lot, but it gave me a lot of like, what is that? What is that? What is that? And I don't know how much of it is just Easter egg for people like you who know the games inside and out, and how much of it is stuff that's going to be significant to the story, to the characters moving forward. If not this season, maybe farther on down the line, because I think they've already greenlit season 3. They've actually got season 3 already listed on IMDb, so obviously we're getting a season 3 at some point. But yeah, I was left with a lot of questions and a lot of curiosity about exactly who people are and exactly what they're going to be moving forward, how important they are.
They were even kind of struggling in New Vegas in the game. Like they were kind of still spread out. Like they're like, yeah, we have maybe not enough troops or really supplies, resources to really try to cover all this, and we're all kind of spread thin, and it sucks. But I'm like, you do have a pretty big presence in New Vegas, so I'm wondering what happened in the last 15-ish years since then. So I don't know. That's kind of crazy because I feel like they'd still be around. And the only other brotherhood that we see is like locked down in a bunker in New Vegas, and they're kind of just a bunch of dicks. Like you go into their bunker, and there's like, yep, all right, you're stripping all the way down to your bare ass, and give me all your weapons, your clothes, your armor, the pennies, the little caps in your pocket. I'm like, I just wanted to talk, guys. Damn. Like, I don't know. They're not like the brotherhood you usually see in like 3 or in 4. So that kind of a weird splinter faction. But as we've seen, that's kind of seems like what's happened. Everybody's being split off in 5 different directions. To the wind.
Yeah, let's talk about this meeting now between Cooper and House. Now there's a lot of I do my picture. I know I had there it is right there. A very not so intimate bathroom meeting. Kind of a crazy place to have a deep conversation between two guys, or maybe the perfect place, depending on how close you are with the other guy. Maybe it's a perfect place to have a deep conversation. But obviously, this is after he's been told that she wants him to kill Robert House, and they have this little run-in. First off, this party that they're at is to honor a friend of his named Charlie. Charlie goes and says some nice things about him. I cannot believe I didn't get a picture of Charlie for some reason. But he says some nice. His buddy Charlie goes there, says some nice things about him, tells a couple old war stories while he gets some kind of an award. He gets this Marine lighter and then gifts it to to Cooper as he is walking off the stage and sits there and talks to him. The first question is, who is Charles, and is he somebody significant in the game that we're probably going to see significant in the show moving forward?
I think he is made up for the show. I don't, because it's tied to the ghoul. I don't recall anybody by that name. Now, to be fair, I have not played Fallout 76, who they did just add the actual character of the ghoul from the show. So, but I mean, he's just in there. He's a character. I don't know if it has anything that ties in from the show other than the fact that he's there. No, but I believe he's a original character. So, but he seems to hold, a place for Cooper because, like I said, he got saved by this man during the war, and I love that heavy line that he even gives him when he gives him the lighter, and he says because he's like, well, this is for you. He's like, because they gave me an award for saving one guy, not for the 3 people I had to kill to do it. I'm like, damn. I guess that's deep. I'm like, yeah, he kind of gets. He's like, that's not the it doesn't feel right. I'm like, to have that. I'm like, no, that's fair. And I would say it's important to him since he holds on to it. Like I said, for 200 plus years. I'm trying to find that Securitron we found because I'm.
Yeah, when he said that, I was kind of interested in that line because. For one, it is the one thing that kind of gets overlooked when guys win medals. They usually win in the military anyway. They usually win medals for killing a lot of people. That's the part that it kind of gets glossed over. And while it is in a combat situation, as in war, they're not killing these people because they're cold-blooded murderers. They probably do carry a little bit of that. It reminded me of this line. There's a movie called The Presidio that came out in the late '80s with Sean Connery and Mark Harmon. Fantastic movie. Of course, it's based in San Francisco, so I love it because it's the Bay Area. But yeah. Sean Connery's friend in the movie, they had both fought in Vietnam together, and his friend won the Congressional Medal of Honor. And when they're sitting around drinking some scotch one day in the middle part of the movie before everything really starts to go off, you find out that the reason his buddy won the Congressional Medal of Honor was because he basically fought off like 16 guys with a couple of mags from his M16 and a couple of grenades, saved Sean Connery and drug him out of the fight while he was fighting all these people. He did something super heroic that probably happened a bunch of times in real life we don't know about, but it's the kind of stuff that they make movies about. And he has a line in there that has always kind of stuck with me. He said, sometimes winning that medal was easier than wearing it, which is like, ooh, now that we know that PTSD is a thing, it's like those kinds of things, they kind of hit different because you're like, now we know people that have been through this stuff. I mean, people in our age group know people that have been to like Iraq and stuff like that, whereas before it was all the Vietnam guys who we largely kind of make fun of. But it's like,
it is real though. Like, we've seen some shit.
It's a little more real now that people that we are friends with, that we came up with, and come back and like they're kind of messed up from what they've seen. So lines like that mean a lot to me. So when that guy said that, the way he kind of looked at it a little more pragmatically, he was just like, yeah, I mean, I did it, and I'm glad I did the right thing. But there's a cost that someone carries for being a hero. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's more. There's more behind it than what you might think or what you have to do to get it in the first place. So stuff you don't want to talk about. I get it. Even the Legion guys, they're talking about like when Lucy's like, yeah, if you think everyone's the bad guy, you're probably the bad guy. And I'm like, well, Lucy, it's kind of depending on your point of view. And I'm like, to quote another very good video game from Modern Warfare 2, history is written by the victor. I'm like, so Lucy, it doesn't really, there is really no one's the bad guy in their own story. You know what I mean? Like I've always said, like if we followed Negan from the beginning of The Walking Dead, he would obviously be the main guy, and Rick would be like this complete asshole who comes in out of nowhere, kills all those people, and you're like, what the hell? Really, dude? So you get it. You kind of have to understand that's where he's coming from. But obviously, since we followed Rick since the hospital, he's the good guy, and we're like, yeah, Negan's kind of this problem we have right now. But, that's what makes it intriguing because it's not, you're not the bad guy in your own story. So.
But then now I want to ask you, though, there was another character in there that I'm very interested about. Who is this Congresswoman Diane Welsh who was making a speech and doing the whole thing? Much like Charles, I feel like she's somebody who is who could be potentially important to the series. Was she in the game? Was she important in the game?
No, again, I think she's made up. I don't know if she was supposed. I mean, it's supposed to be important because she just kind of delivered that speech with like no enthusiasm and just straight faced the entire. I don't know. It was kind of funny, and I'm like, I wonder if you're supposed to be important in some way. But yeah, I mean, she could act like she was at least a little bit interested. Damn, like. And here I am trying to find a picture of a character who is actually important, who's actually from the game. Oh my god, how can I not?
Because I was interested in her because her introduction was so nonchalant and uninspiring.
Yeah.
That I was like, I feel like she's the one that's going to pop up later, like, oh, she was a bad guy all along. Maybe not the main bad guy, or maybe she ends up being friends with Lucy's dad, with Hank. And then at some point they cross paths, and then she's like, "Oh, hi, Hank." He's like, "Oh, hey, Congressman Welch, what's going on?" And then you find out that she's had some kind of knowledge the whole time that we didn't have, or that we didn't know she had, and that she's either kind of in league with him, or if not in league with him, at least they're both assholes. They're going to work against each other or for each other. However it might impact them, they're going to be kind of devil agents for one another. But that was the kind of the way they were introducing her to me, was that, yeah, she's going to be important at some point, but she's not going to be important right now. We just want you to know that she exists.
I mean, because it does seem like Cooper, like we said, had something to do with it. We're just getting 200 years ago and then now, with what happened and what his mission was with dealing with Mr. House, because clearly at least as far as we know, and if the game is canon, I'm like, well, it didn't work clearly, because this man has so many contingencies, plans ahead for every possibility, and has this need to live forever. So clearly something didn't go right. They said, like, because they said to Cooper, like, yeah, didn't you have something to do with that? It's like, damn. So I'm still interested in seeing where that goes. Maybe that's something we'll see from all this the pre-war flashbacks that we keep getting. I don't
know. Another character I'm interested in, he runs into this robot guy named Victor. Now, I'm pretty sure I have again, I've not played a lot of Fallout. I played a little bit of it here and there. It never was really the game I was into. But I do vaguely remember this for some reason. Explain to me, yes, Robot Victor, his significance in the game, and why the ghoul seems to. It's like they just talked at the bar yesterday. He walks in there and he's so nonchalant. He's like, "Hey, what's up, Victor?" Who is Victor, and what does he mean to the ghoul?
To the ghoul, I'm not sure. I mean, there was always this. If you keep that picture up for just a second, there were people speculating. I think even in season 1, that image right there was, like a cartoony version of Cooper Howard, because we don't really know who Victor is, who that picture is, because we have Victor, this specific one here with the cowboy, and then there are the Securitrons that are like at the gates of Vegas, who are the guards that have like the war helmets on, and then there's Yes Man, who's the default ending of the game. He's just kind of like the neutral, not on anyone's side Securitron. And then if you go this way with Mr. House, obviously then Mr. House takes over all these Securitrons, and his face is right on the screen. But that would be a cool tie-in if that was in fact what that Victor was modeled after Cooper, like his movie character. But see, now I'm like, okay, now I can sit here and tell you, Victor is actually important. He is in the Fallout New Vegas game. He's the Securitron that you come across right after getting out of the doctor's house. Being shot in the head and all. Does a number on you, so got to put you back together. But Victor was actually the one that came across you. So after you got shot in the head and buried and left to die, you didn't completely die, really. You were still kicking in the grave, and he came across you and dug you up and drug you into the doctor's house and essentially saved your life in New Vegas. So, and you see him wheeling around every once in a while. You'll come across some So he does get around the wasteland quite often, and like all of a sudden you're going from Good Springs, all of a sudden you're in the Vegas Strip. Boom, there he is outside the Lucky 38 casino. Of all places. Not like these, like I said, these different security or Securitron programs are just like linked to each other. So I mean, he could have just blipped to another Securitron that was there. I don't know. But his character, I'm assuming like the ghouls probably come across him because again, Victor's just kind of all over the place. You run into him a couple times. He's fun. He's a fun character, and again, he saved your life, so he's all right in my book.
The guy who does the voice, his name is Jesse Birch, and he has a history in Fallout. He actually did voices for several characters in New Vegas, including Private Ackerman, Alan Marks, and First Star. Let me just click on this. Let's see. Let me find him on here. I'm going for the whole thing. Damn, a lot of big name actors actually did voices in that game. Wow, I had no idea.
You look up one voice actor and you get like a CVS receipt length of like stuff they've done. It's crazy.
Yeah, wow, there's some big names on here. Danny Trejo, Matthew Perry, Wayne Newton, Ron Perlman, Chris. Jesus Christ, this is like Murderer's Row of voice actors. William Sadler, Michael Dorn. Yeah, oh yeah, Fallout New Vegas. Dude, there's huge names in here. I didn't even know that.
Yeah, there are. It's crazy actually how many big name actors are in the games.
Michael Dorn, Felicia Day, Rob Corddry. Jesus.
Felicia Day makes sense.
Yeah.
Oh,
Dave
yeah.
Foley. Yeah, there's huge names in that. Mm-hmm. But yeah, he apparently did Private Ackerman, Alan Marks, and First Sergeant somebody. I can't read it because it was up there. But he also did the voice of the Victor Securitron in this episode. Other stuff he's done. He's done some World of Warcraft, Guardians of the Galaxy TV series. He did some voice work in Call of Duty World War II, which is the last almost decent Call of Duty game they ever made.
Yeah, that's probably the last one I played that I liked, really.
All the way back, Marvel Future Fight. He's done some on-screen stuff, too. He was in A Good Day to Die Hard, which is the Die Hard movie that I can't stand. Good action, nothing else about the movie is watchable. What to Expect and You're Expecting, Warhammer Online, Wrath of Heroes, some more gaming stuff, Fallout New Vegas. First Sergeant Astor is who he played, is the other one he played. And then, of course, he was in The Mentalist, which is a good show. He was the Ark reporter in Evan Almighty. Command and Conquer Tiberium Wars. I love the Command and Conquer.
Hey, there you go.
But yeah, a bunch of voiceover stuff and a few small TV and movie roles. He was in a series. He was in an episode of The West Wing, which I'll have to go back and look that one up because that's one of my favorite episodes. That's one of my favorite shows. But yeah, so for reference, that's the guy who did the voice was somebody who's got a history with the character and with the series. So
yeah.
I don't know if that's significant or not, because sometimes doing Last of Us, obviously the people that did the voice for Joel and Ellie, obviously they have appearances in the show as kind of a little psychic wink to people like you who have lived in that game for so many months.
And like when they did Uncharted, you obviously have Tom Holland, but then when they roll up on the beach and it's the guy sitting on the lounge chair and he's the guy who voices Nathan Drake in the game, I'm like, I see what you did there.
The kids don't know, but
we get it.
But yeah, so yeah, those were a couple of things. Like I said, this episode gave me a lot of questions, but not a whole lot of answers for anything. I've noticed, and I think the last episode of Stranger Things that we talked about, not to mention maybe this episode, I think one of the comparisons I can make with these two is that we've talked before about Loki when we've reviewed that show, that there's always one episode towards the end where it's not a huge episode, but it just puts the pieces on board in place for that final push towards the climax. I feel like this was maybe kind of that episode. It's just moving it's arranging the board to where we're going to start making that steady progression forward. Like every episode now is going to have, if not a big reveal, it's going to have a lot of stuff that expands the story, especially since we've already got season 3 coming. So, Van says, "Where is Tex? He's more of a Fallout boy." But Tex is actually he actually changed jobs, so he's going to be off and on. He hasn't been on a whole lot the last 6 weeks or so, but he's definitely around. He's just not on right now because of work stuff. But yeah, he's definitely part of the show still. And then Van also says Big Iron is the perfect song for New Vegas.
Oh my God, yes.
Dude, I've said it a couple of times. Dude, the soundtrack of this TV show is fucking banging. It's got some great stuff in it. How often do you hear anybody play anything Roy Orbison anymore? I mean, I've got some Roy Orbison on my Spotify playlist, but
trust me, when I play like the Fallout playlists I have and shit, it turns some heads because they're like, "You're how old?" I'm like, yeah, and like, it's good shit. I don't know what to tell you. So it's not like I wasn't already listening to it before I got into Fallout, so it kind of helps. Yeah.
But now let's move on to where the all the action for this episode really happened. Well, before I get past that, I'm sorry, I didn't put this in note the way I wanted to. Obviously, Cooper makes a deal to get Lucy out of the clutches of the Legion, and now what he does at some point, he manages to plant some kind of a bomb. I don't know how he did it when he was standing in front of them the whole time. Maybe there was some stuff that happened off screen that we didn't see, but. While this whole thing is happening with Lucy, is when he's going through those flashbacks to that moment with his friend Charles at that award ceremony thing they were doing at the VFW, and then after this happens, of course, you see the ghoul look down at the lighter that his friend gave him, obviously a memento of different times of a different life, but. I mean, what do you think of him rolling in there and rescuing her? He obviously made some kind. It seems like he makes some kind of a deal to give up his friends from the New California Republic that he had just talked to before walking in there. Then obviously he plants some kind of a device that explodes as soon as they walk out. The two warring factions, which is actually you can see the dividing line right down the middle of that picture, pretty much where that fence line is, is where Caesar's body is laying right there. That's kind of where he's laying. And then bomb goes off. They start fighting, and they are with the ghoul or any deal that they made with the family. That's half the game, or is that a deviation game? I feel like it's deviable.
I'm glad I heard none of that because you were cutting out so fucking bad.
Oh. Yeah, I got to do it my internet stuff. But that whole sequence of him making the deal and then walking away only to lay some kind of an explosive device that blows them up and starts them fighting again. Is that something that happens in the game, or is that a deviation? Because I feel like that's probably something that was fairly unique to this episode.
Yeah, I mean, there was that quick shot, like there were like barrels that said like dynamite or some shit. So I don't know if I thought is like maybe he walked by and hit it with the lighter, because I'm like, that's kind of poetic, and I love that he did that and got them to fight each other. Yeah, I don't know if that's real. The only thing that's close to that, which is something that's fun to do, I've seen people do it in the game. Something that you can do that's a lot of fun is you can crouch down, and if you're hidden, you can pickpocket characters, right? So not only can you take things out of their pockets, you can put things in their pockets, and if you happen to just slip a grenade in there and just mosey out, boom, a couple seconds later. So I've seen people do it at the Caesar. They'll sneak up behind him and put one in his pocket and just boom, blow him up. It probably takes out the two Praetorian guards next to him too. So it's kind of funny. That's, you can walk out of there and fight your way back out. I'm dumb and I fought my way inwards. I don't know why I did that. I just, it was just cathartic for me. Okay. I was freeing the slaves, getting people out. I have Boone, who is a former NCR sniper. He's probably the best companion, at least to me, because he never misses. I like that when the ghoul walked in there and even the dog kind of like barks at him and he's like, "Yo, I know." I'm like, "Oh, they're in those hills. They fucking see you. Trust me, they do." As the NCR Rangers say, or the snipers say, it's the last thing you never see. You're getting one in the dome. I'm like, so they're doing you a courtesy by just popping one off next to you. So yeah, that's why I love Boone. He's got a hell of a story. Yeah, and him being the sniper, he's kind of the best choice. And he's obviously willing to just go in there and lay waste to these Legion guys. So no, it's kind of the cool idea of just like you can kind of plan ahead to do some stuff like that and just plant explosives or do something, and it'll start. Usually, it's starting a fight with they'll start a fight with you, but clever idea to kind of take them out since he realizes the NCR is gonna be no help. And I don't want to believe that he was just being a dick to them. He may have told them to just, hey, get out of town before I go do this, even though he thought, I'm pretty sure these guys are going to tear each other apart before they even get to the NCR. So takes care of that issue. The cons we kind of saw. I'm trying to go through the the other factions, like the cons, the kings, the powder gangers, the boomers. There's a lot of factions in Vegas that, again, we still haven't. And then Mr. House, of course, we haven't seen yet. So I don't know. It narrows it down.
What's that? I couldn't find the quote. I couldn't find the quote when I was looking at IMDb because I wanted to make that my quote for this stream. What's it he says to him? He's like, you don't want to make a serious offer to a man when he's got his dick in his hand or something like that.
He's got his dick in his hand. Like, you know how I know you're not a soldier, or you don't come in here talking politics to a man with his dick in his hand. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what he said. I was like, that's my quote, but I couldn't find out. I didn't have time to rewatch the episode like I wanted to when I got home. But as soon as I heard that, that's the episode right there. But real quick, I mean, one more thing about the Legion. Obviously, we're going to see them again because there's a scene in one of the trailers where it looks like Macaulay Culkin's character is walking up to somebody and face to face stabbing them in the gut or something like that.
Yeah.
I mean, is this going to be a one-season thing, or is this something that might carry for the rest of the series?
I feel like, again, they're too big of a faction, and it's kind of, I can't believe that, like, Kevin McAllister, bit the dust in that fight there. Again, he's one of the legates. He's obviously well-trained. He's not somebody who's going to probably, end up biting it. But there's going to be some sore feelings, I'm sure, towards the Ghoul, towards Lucy. Since now their numbers are kind of dwindled since they fought each other, and now they really can't get to war with, like you said, anyone else, like with the NCR or the cons, anyone else who's in the wasteland. So, yeah, there might be some rough feelings there. And you give Kevin McAllister enough prep time, he'll do some shit. Your wet bandits be damned, but
now the Ghoul's walking through some building, paint cans start swinging down, hitting the face.
Right. Lights his head
but now let's get to the other. Yeah, let's get to the other thing that is really significant over the course of this episode, and that's this strange relationship that brews between Maximus and Xander Harkness. Maximus, his. I'm looking at him kind of the way that I've been looking at Doug in this final season of Stranger Things. He's had some shit happen to him. He doesn't feel. I don't feel like he's in the same frame of mind that he was when we kind of saw him through most of the first season. He's a lot more grizzled. He's worn that suit a couple times. He's done some battle. He's fired some bullets. He's a different human being now. This scene right here, where the people on this council talk, he is so very, and they're talking about Xander Hart. Should they give him the cold fusion stuff? Blah blah blah, and so very coldly and matter of fact, I could kill him. And the idea, and to me, I was shocked because it's such a weird place to see him right now, considering half a season of television the show ago, he seemed to be a guy who was just trying to find himself, but now he actually is hard in this moment. I mean, again, compare this scene to where we're at to a comparable scene in the game. It also just talk for a minute about how this scene how you think it's shown his growth and his change as time's gone on.
Yeah, like you said, he at the end of season 1, it's not like he really was the one who they thought he single-handedly killed Moldaver, because I'm pretty sure he didn't. But that's what they come across, and that's kind of what his whole mythos and character is kind of built on. He's kind of probably just had to accept that. He's kind of just reluctantly been this hero to these people, and while I'm like, I think he's doing it on purpose. Like the way he delivers stuff, like you said, he's just kind of he's been through it. He's been through the shit, as they say. And he may just be kind of numb to some of the stuff, which is why he just so nonchalantly says, like, well, I could just kill him. Well, we could do that because, obviously we this is the best time to use this phrase. We have the technology. That's what the Brotherhood's all about, is preserving technology. So, yeah, it's kind of wild. All this happens like 5 minutes after. Yeah, all this happens like 5 minutes after he got into a fight with that guy and killed him.
And like that, even to me, was like one of these moments where it's like, I don't know if he's the same Maximus was when we left last season. I don't know if something between the end of the season and the beginning of the season, or watching his change happen. I'm not sure, but that's a lot.
Yeah, I would say, I guess comparatively to the game, I'm actually I didn't do a Brotherhood of Steel playthrough in Fallout 4. I kind of started with them. I got to like where at least they gave me a suit of power armor, which I do love that hilarious line where he goes with Xander and he's like, "Wait, they give you spares?" I'm like, "Dude, they just give you one when you get there. Like, oh, here you go, casually. Here's one. Here's another one. Like, they give us things out like candy. And you can find them across the wasteland, different models of armor, stuff like that. But yeah, they just kind of have them on hand. He probably has the one suit, and it's like you probably have to take care of that one because that's the only one you get, man. But going into the Brotherhood, I was like, just it kind of did happen quick. They were just like, yeah, the Brotherhood guy in 4, who is actually a companion, Paladin Dance. He's like, here, I'll sponsor you. I'll get you in there. I'll get you in with the guys. Get you a good word. We did name drop Maxton. Roger Maxton, who started the Brotherhood. I'm trying to remember if he's the. Oh God, I don't know if he's the son. He's because you see Elder Maxton, who he's a kid in 3, and he's a adult in 4. He's the elder at that point. Different Maxton in the family line, and they do just kind of very quickly put you into the fold and just kind of accept you. And I'm kind of just like, did I really just kind of sign up for all this? Like, you guys just kind of very quickly took me here and took me under your wing and just kind of no questions asked. And I mean, your character is a former soldier. I mean, he obviously pre-war, he was in the military. So you kind of have the same, like, yeah, you sit up straight in your chair and say, yes, sir, where you want me to go? So you kind of already have that background, that mentality of it. Then I kind of one cool thing, and they're like, yeah, he's it. And I'm like, right, but I've done so many of these repeatable missions where it's like, here, go kill all this stuff, go clear this out, report back. Here, go find this piece of technology. All right, report back, kill anything that's in there. It's like, guys, I've grinded like 10 levels of this. What? I'm kind of numb to it now, so I kind of get it.
Yeah. Now, this whole episode, one of the things that I don't know if it was happening like this or not, because it's only one episode. It wasn't able to explore it much before the ending of the episode, which we'll talk about in a minute. But it seems like Xander is kind of working Maximus for one reason or another. Do you think Xander looks at Maximus and finds him as kind of the weak link and thinks that he's going to get some information or get him to help facilitate him getting the cold fusion stuff? Or is he really trying to build a relationship with Maximus?
I don't know. I was trying to figure that motivation out too. He may have just been kind of playing the field. I mean, he walked in on Maximus stabbing that dude who's probably twice his size. And it was, he kind of getting that little like, nice, like a little approving look that this dude just single-handedly, just unarmed combat just killed this dude. Because he's like, maybe he's not necessarily the big, he's not just the mindless grunt, who's roided out, again, who just knows how to fight. He's like, well, he had to be smart. So he's like, I know this guy had to be smarter to try and defeat this guy. So he probably sees something in Max. And I don't know. He may have just thought, like you say, he may have thought like he might be the one to try to manipulate. And I was not really sure what they were doing. Because again, I know their whole thing is technology. So he sees like, oh yeah, there's a big signature or something down there that we need to go check out. So I'm like, okay, I didn't know what he was trying to play at with him. Maybe just trying to, again, like, hey, what if we just talk this shit out? Because then, like you said 5 minutes ago, Maximus was like, yeah, I could kill this guy, and it was almost my quote from the elder cleric, who says like, I don't need the thoughts from the sword. What did he say? Hold on, I have it right here. I have no need for the thoughts of a sword. Yeah. It was that or the other lady who said, I don't go in for the religious stuff, which is the realest shit I've ever heard in a game. Because Fallout, Elder Scrolls, and now Outer Worlds, all made by this same company. If you're a religious nut, you're on the other end of my gun. I'm sorry. I'm not going to hear you out. No, I'm not going to. Look, the ones in Fallout worship radiation because it's this big mysterious thing that does this crazy stuff that we don't know or can't understand because, they're called the children of Adam because of course they are. And of course it's spelled Atom like the molecule atom because they're clever. But I'm like, no, get out of here. I don't need you're on your knees praying to radiation and you got a third arm growing out of your stomach. Like, God, you're stupid. I don't know. I can't stand it. Yeah, I get it. You said as somebody who's like, is it going to carry through the season? And I'm like, oh no, good, thank God, because we saw one of the really cool weapons of the game, which is the super sledge, the rocket propelled fucking sledgehammer. I don't like melee builds, but that is a fun weapon. I'm not going to lie. He does have the super sledge, and he did crack one right in the dome. I was like, oh, good. Okay, I don't have to listen to you anymore because I was like, he is kind of trying to play it a little more straight, but I'm like, he still got that little quirky edge. And if I heard him say hot dog one more time, I was gonna hit him with a super sledge myself. I'm sorry. I don't know why this dude, the actor, I'm like, I don't like dislike you, but I'm just like, I don't know. You just kind of bug me a little bit, and it's like you're the same character and everything. You're in a lot of stuff. It's good for you, but I don't know. He wasn't as goofy as I thought he was going to be, which I did appreciate. But it did show him again the mirroring of like he's kind of going off the rails a little bit. Like he is that like in the by the book, like, yeah, these are ghouls, whether they're children or not, they gotta go. I'm like, damn, dude. Like, now I was wondering because I'm like, are we really going there? Because that's a thing in all these games and by Bethesda and Elder Scrolls and Fallout. You can't kill children. Like, you literally cannot. You can use mods, console commands. Yes, you can. But base game, you are not allowed to kill kids, and you can't. Which is why most of them are dickheads to you, because it's like the game knows you can't kill them. So I was like, holy crap, are we going to go there? Because this is a show. It's different. I don't know. But, no, thankfully Max stepped up.
That was the tagline I almost put on there. Yeah, that was the other tagline I almost like. Most kids are dead at this age. That's what he says.
Most kids are dead by this age.
That's the tagline. Yeah. Most kids are dead by this age. Their little cheer they made at the beginning of the episode. But
they're almost with Max, where he's like, I think I just started a civil war. I'm like, yeah, you might have. So, yikes.
But one of the things that's interesting about this relationship is for all the hardness that Max is trying to display in the course of this episode, he has this moment when they're flying around in Xander's little helicopter thing, his little airplane, and it looks like he's kind of having fun. Like he's kind of like the hardened shell is starting to crack a little bit. He's got like a fun smile about him, like he's enjoying the time. And then they go and roll across this other guy. I don't remember what they called him, but I just call him Robot Soldier Boy. But I don't really know what he is. I mean, this has got to be something from the game. It looks like it's got to be one of those Easter eggs that threw in there for guys like you. What exactly is this guy? Because he basically is target practice for Xander and Maximus.
I'm trying to find what his actual name is. Maybe if I type in, hold on. Whoops. Well, it is kind of funny that I'm like, well, it's easy when you guys beat up on a Securitron that's like mostly malfunctioning. It's kind of an easy, especially when you guys are in power armor. You don't really have to worry about shit because they're bulletproof. They'll protect you from radiation. You actually take no fall damage when you wear a suit of armor like that. You can jump off of a high place and just boom, hit the ground and be fine. I think those are just normal Securitrons because, like I said, no, I'm sorry, I lied. The Securitrons have the picture of the cop on their screen. I'm trying to remember what the soldier one is. I know that's actually a thing. Soldier. If I could actually go get out the pictures, that would probably help. I'm sorry. Yeah, the guards are different. There's Yes Man. Okay. Secure trials. Mr. House's robotic security forces serving as guards for the Vegas Strip. Armed with machine guns, grenade launchers can be significantly upgraded with the platinum chip. Yes, I know that. That's the important part in the game. Law enforcement, standard gear. God damn, I'm trying to remember why the one has a soldier on it. Because a lot of them are mostly cops. They might just be the soldier, like the soldier versions. Like, they may actually just be that. Securitron Army. Yeah. As I said, there are guards. There's different, like, I guess, tiers of these things. And then special ones like Yes Man or Victor. I'm pretty sure there's a female one too, actually. Yeah, it's Vegas, man. There's a male and female of everything. I'm telling you. Yes, I went in the back room of the casino. Don't judge me. It's lonely out
That's where the fun stuff happens in the back room of the casino.
Yeah, it does. There's that's what the Gamora is for. There's a whole quest line with one of the dancers that you can do.
But after they get done with their target practice on Robot Soldier Boy, having a little bonding moment, they end up across in the beginning of the episode, the whole little I guess it's Bitcoin mining for the apocalypse. It's, these guys are going a bunch of kids, both ghouls and regular kids, just popping bottle caps like crazy and throwing them off in a pile. Now, Jerry, me and you have talked about this a little bit off camera about exactly what this is. I was pulling some ears. They're asking me if they're what is it, Starlight Sarsaparilla or whatever it's called? Let me read this name.
Sunset Sarsaparilla.
Sunset Sarsaparilla. And as I was pulling the pictures yesterday, I texted you. I was like, "You're right. It's Sunset Sarsaparilla. You hit that one on the head."
Yep.
What are they going? What is he going after all these caps for? Now you said that they have a significance in the game. I don't know if it's the new cola caps that have value and not the Sunset Sarsaparilla caps. I'm not sure. Exactly what is he collecting all these for? Is it just for cash, or is he looking for something in particular?
He is actually looking for something specific. That's why I asked. When I heard he's kind of doing the Veruca Salt thing, like from Willy Wonka, where they're looking through every candy bar, just scavenging through it, looking for a golden ticket. Yeah. That's why I asked, because you're like, is he just is he gathering money? No, they still count. They're still caps. They count as caps. So either way, I'm like, yeah, I guess in a way, even if you don't achieve, I'll explain here in a second what he's trying to achieve, but I'm like, well, you still at the end of the day have all these caps. So what he's looking for, why I was like specifically asking, like, if it's Nuka-Cola caps, I'm like, okay, then he's just a greedy asshole. I don't know. But the reason why it's Sunset Sarsaparilla is actually, I've got 2 bottles of it in the fridge, and I just realized now, like, oh yeah, I was gonna open this episode by opening one up, and we'll do it live. We'll see if I get one. What he's looking for are the blue star caps. So underneath the Sunset Sarsaparilla caps, there is a chance that one can have a blue star stamped underneath. And it's kind of like we've seen it in real life, right? Like you open up a Snapple cap or you open up a pop tab and they got stuff underneath, you win a prize. That's what it is. So in Vegas, there is a potential prize by collecting the blue star caps. Like there's a guy that runs around. You can see them. You'll see the encounter. You'll see the guy running across the wasteland being chased by somebody. And he's got like a necklace made of like 10 of them or some shit, which that's crazy because like they are just kind of scattered throughout. And you do have a random chance to drink a Sunset Sarsaparilla in the game and get one of them. Because every time you drink a Nuka-Cola or a Sarsaparilla, you consume the drink and then the cap goes into your inventory. So what he's looking for is that there is the side quest called The Legend of the Star, where if you collect 50 star caps, you go to the Sunset Sarsaparilla factory, and there's a big prize, which is actually a unique laser pistol, and it's named Pew Pew. That's not a joke. That's real. It's decent. I mean, like usually unique weapons have an actual name. They're not just this is a 12 millimeter hand cannon, whatever the fuck, which is a thing. 12 millimeter is really hard to find in that game because there's a gun just called that gun. It's that gun, and it takes like 12 millimeter rounds, and it's really hard to find ammo for. They're scattered throughout the wasteland. Bottles. Oh yeah, collectors like Malcolm. Fuck Malcolm. I'll kill him too. In Minecraft, or I'm sorry, in Fallout, for legal reasons. And there's like a whole bunch of like sheriff badges that are just kind of worthless. There's boxes and boxes of it. When you go to the factory, it's just strewn all over the floor. I'm like, yeah, I mean, it's for the unique pistol. So I don't know if he's trying to find the unique pistol or if that's just again an Easter egg. Because I'm like, if you don't explain that, like it is still kind of like you have to know what he's doing to know. But I'm like, but why is he doing? I mean, like, is there a reason for it? Is he also heard the legend of the, the Star Caps? I don't know, but I mean, I guess the bigger thing is that it gets him and Max together in the same room again, where they're like, "Hey, I know you. I remember you." So it's all full circle.
Then we get to the really tense moment right at the end where Xander is lining up the kids, ghouls on one side and regular non-ghoul kids on the other. And it becomes very clear over the course of a couple of seconds what he plans on doing as he uses his weapon and he's getting ready to dispatch these kids in a very unfortunate way when suddenly Max does what, he did what he had to do. He takes that rocket hammer and drives it right through the top of his cranium and puts him down.
Yeah.
And that's when the guy, like you said, asks, "What did you do?" He goes, "Well, I think it just started a civil war." I mean, so obviously there's parts of Maximus that are still very, very not wanting to see a bunch of kids getting killed for seemingly reason. But I was kind of hoping to get a little more of Xander Harkness because I like this actor. I think he's funny. And I'm one of those people that I still think that while not the best Marvel movie ever made, The Eternals is still plenty watchable. I think it's artistically beautiful and a decent movie. Not the best thing Marvel's ever done, but I think it's a much better movie it gets credit for. But yeah, that's a pretty important scene that it ends on, and now it's just like I wonder what happens in the next episode, which is already out. I just haven't watched it yet. Mm-hmm. But that's a pretty crazy way to end things. Where what do you think of that scene? Maximus deciding to drive the rocket-powered pickaxe through his head, Fallout, Fortnite style, and what do you think this is going to lead to in the next episode and for the rest of the season?
I think it does give us kind of where Max does. We know where he stands and how he differs from other people, seemingly in his faction. And like I said, there's factions of these the Brotherhood of Steel all over America. But the thing is, like we've seen, they're splintered. They have different ideals. They have different motives. And we see what someone like even from the Commonwealth, like you think that they're still literally they're brothers in arms. Really, they should be. But it's like he still has different motives, and we know where Maximus stands. Where he's like, well, we don't have to do this, man. They're just kids, even if they are ghouls. It's like, damn, dude, you're just gonna. That is kind of the one thing I don't. I mean, as I'm playing through Fallout 4 in the Brotherhood, I am just kind of I am just kind of yes manning everything they tell me to do. I'm like, yeah, I get it. I'm a soldier. I follow orders. I'm like, I mean, I could choose not to, but like, if they tell me to go down there and kill somebody, I'm like, I kind of have to. I could choose not to, which I did do once, and then I had the Brotherhood attacking me every couple days, which really sucked. You hear that vertibird whirling overhead, I'm like, oh, motherfucker, here they come again. And about 10 of those guys come out in power armor suits, and I'm like, oh, shit, here we go. I got to fight them off. But yeah, like I said, it kind of mirrors the story that the Elder Cleric tells us with, if it weren't for somebody like just taking a stance against what, he was a part of, we wouldn't be where we are now. So it does kind of get that, again, more of that seed of like Max being the one who's going to be the defiant soldier. As for where we go forward, I mean, like that's going to get back to somebody. And that's, a lot of civil war going on in these games. Like you got the Legion fighting each other. we're about to have the Brotherhood down each other's throats at each other. So I don't know. I wonder if we'll see any other characters from 4, because that is our link to 4, which from the Commonwealth of Boston, where 4 takes place. I don't know. We did. I'm glad we did get the little slur there from, again, another Easter egg from Xander when he called the kids smooth skins. I'm like, that's what ghouls call people like you and me who aren't radiated, and they call you smooth skin. I'm like, am I supposed to be offended by that? Like, what the fuck? That's their little racial slur against us. So good for them. I caught that. I'm like, oh, all the smooth skins stand over there. The rest of you stay right in front of me. I was like, oh god, he's played Call of Duty. He's seen no Russian. I'm like, god damn it, he's just gonna kill them all. But yeah, no,
he killed the baby in the crib in that game. That was a Call of Duty level 2, wasn't it? I want to say, or was it another game? I forget. But.
No, I think it was COD. Like, you go like lights out and you go into this room and there's like a mom in there. And there's a kid.
Oh, that's right.
I remember that because it's like, I don't remember if the mom pulled a gun or not, because I'm like, well, now, that happened. And now the kid's like fucking got no parents. Yeah, but man, he took his own super sledge right to his dome. So that's gonna get back to somebody.
Yeah, it seems to me like, and again, I'm trying to connect real life to the crazy apocalyptic world that doesn't really exist, but it's like if this were to actually happen, it would be almost impossible for there to be only 2 or 3 factions. It's like they would all be warring with one another. It seems like it's impossible if there wouldn't be like 4 or 5 different civil wars going at any given moment in the United States alone. To say nothing about other parts of the world. I mean, in the United States alone, it would have to be 4 or 5 civil wars going on.
That's why we want to fall out in another country. We want to see something like that, because I would love to know what's going on, like
between all these different groups.
What's going on
4 or 5 different groups.
Yeah.
So then, yeah. Sorry, my internet went there for a minute. I just saw my internet drop and pick back up. But
there we go.
Yeah, sorry, my internet just dropped and picked back up. I don't know, it's been doing
that.
I'll fix it. But yeah, it seems like there's no way that there wouldn't be 4 or 5 civil wars going on at one point in the United States alone, to say nothing about the rest of the country.
It's just who has to be the most organized.
Yeah, but I am again. I'm more interested in Maximus's character now moving forward, because, like I said, from the beginning of the episode to the end of this episode, there is a big question in my head about exactly what's going on in his head right now. Like like I said, when we see him earlier on in the episode, he seems so, I don't want to say lifeless, but so just resigned to what he has become.
Chilled. Yeah.
And then as he's flying around with Xander later on, it looks like he's finally opening up and having fun when they fight Robot Soldier Boy. It looks like it's just kind of target practice. He's kind of like just getting out of his system again. But at the end of this episode, he has to whack Xander to save these kids, and now he's like, well, shit, I just started a civil war. I was happy an hour ago, but now I don't know what the hell the future brings. So it's an interesting arc for him just over the course of this episode. They say nothing about the course of the season. I'm really interested to see what they do with it later on.
Yeah.
But let's go ahead and close this out now. Like I said, not a whole lot in this episode, but a lot of stuff, a lot of building, and especially for Maximus's character. Give me your final thoughts on the episode and where it where you think the next episode is going to go.
Yeah, I liked this one because, again, it was a lot of character work. It was I think other the tables have turned from like when we saw the first episode, even though it was a trap, the ghoul was being held up by the cons, and Lucy was there in the Dinky the Dinosaur Tower to save him. And now, the ghouls over there having the high ground has the advantage of, like, not being captured, because Lucy's now up on the cross. And I love how he gave her the line again, like, yeah, how's that golden rule, motherfucker? Like, you kind of learn, because that woman got her throat slit 3 seconds in. I'm like, yeah, Lucy, is it kind of clicking? Because I'm still waiting for Lucy to kind of get that, like, little bit of, like, you can still be kind of naive and think you can talk to people. She's kind of the more charismatic, like, speech-driven character, speech-build character. But she's still a capable fighter, so I'm hoping she maybe kind of gets it now. That's like there are people that really just don't care what you think, Lucy. They're in their ways.
Actually, the girl that she saved Pike right behind that one, right between Caesar and Kevin McAllister. Her head is the one that's right behind that spear. So yeah. So yeah. As soon as they walk in there, this other girl gets the Colombian necktie. They proceed to dehead her right there at that Pike. So yeah, that's the kind of people.
Yeah, that it was worthless to give her the to give her the stim pack. So it was still for naught. So yeah, and then Cooper's having his character moment of like realizing he could still kind of be the good guy and make that choice and choose to help somebody. I'm assuming his motivation was that Lucy's dad still kind of holds a key to like knowing something for him. So getting there and also getting Lucy there together, it's still a mutual advantage to be, together. And yeah, with Max, like we said, I'm like, he probably has just been, for the past time we haven't, between seasons, he's just been, again, told, go here, do this. And he's just numb to it. It's just the routine. Okay, go here, kill this, come back, clean your armor, get back to it. Rinse, wash, repeat. That's hard to say. So someone that, kind of took to him and got him to loosen up a little bit, just to, kind of make it fun, because it's probably just, because he just seems so just dead, just like, yep, go in here, kill this, grab that. That's what we came here for. Cool, we're out, But the guy kind of made it fun, made it a game to pick on this Securitron. So, but again, we know where he stands, and even though he's like, I'm willing to make this choice, because he doesn't have a choice really, to bonk him right on the noggin with the sledgehammer. So again, it's he has the unintentional or the bad luck to something happens to him, and I'm like, well, now you got to live with this consequence, and now you got to deal with it. I was still thinking he might have a lower intelligence, because I'm like, I swear he's got the idiot savant perk, because anything he does, it just works out for him. He just gets experience for it, period, for doing anything. But he might have a high luck skill, because he does luck out of a lot of shit, honestly. So I'm trying to put it in the game terms. Someone has gone through and divvied out Lucy, the Ghoul, and Max, what their stats would be if they were in the game. So yeah, that's kind of where I was thinking with him.
Yeah, I'm more interested in Maximus now after this episode than I have been really from the beginning of the season, because while I was kind of interested in this episode, showed me there's a lot more. I do like we're getting more and more into Cooper's life and as Cooper the actor. I wonder if we're actually gonna. To me, the question is, when does he find his wife and or daughter? Is it this season, towards the end of the season? Maybe is it the cliffhanger that leads us into next season? I'm curious, because that's kind of the journey that I'm most interested in. I am, of course, interested in Lucy finding her dad Hank, because I'm curious to, what's he doing with the whole, Elon Musk Neuralink chip that he's working on, and what's going to be the end game for that. But I thought this was a solid episode. Again, I'm more excited for the next episode than I was, and that's kind of what the whole thing is supposed to do. So I think it's going to be a pretty cool trip for the rest of the season. We'll go ahead and wrap things up there. Jay, always good to feed off your expertise in this particular matter. You are my living omnibus for everything. Thank you for being so knowledgeable. Yeah. Where I am not knowledgeable for anything except the TV show. But where can the folks know about you, my friend?
I'm here Tuesday and Thursdays. Again, I think we're still double fisting Stranger Things and Fallout. So Tuesday will be the next episode of Fallout, which I believe is episode 7. Which I think is before the very final episode, which everyone and their mom already watched 3 years ago, apparently, and they're already mad about it and forgotten about it. So, but that's Tuesday, and we'll be back again. I know. That's the fun part.
The furor that is surrounding everything Stranger Things right now is hilarious. It makes me think that another civil way out, but whatever.
Hopefully not.
Whatever. Yeah. I'm having fun. I've had 2 or 3 people. I've had 2 or 3 people text me, be like, "Did you hear they're coming out with one more episode of Stranger Things?" I'm like, no, they're not. Just stop. Just stop interneting. The interneting is ruining your brain. Just stop. Turn off Facebook. It's not doing any good. But yeah, we will be back here on Tuesday to do chapter 8, the second to last episode of Stranger Things. And then the last episode, I think Tex has said that he wants to come on for the final episode so that he can basically just bitch a lot about the episode. I thought it was a solid final episode. Jeremy hasn't seen it yet. I'm eager to get his thoughts on it, but we'll get there when we get there. Yeah, we will see you guys on Tuesday to break down chapter 7 of Stranger Things, if you're the name of the episode. And then obviously we will continue on with Fallout. Fallout, because it's going to go a little longer, we'll be able to catch up on it and kind of do some other stuff. Then we'll take our little break, and then we'll get right back to the reviews as we get into February and March. But we will see you guys on Tuesday. Till then, adios. It was pretty cool, though, getting whacked in the head by the rocket-powered pickaxe. I mean, you got to go. What a cool way to go.
Yeah, that's a cool weapon. Like I said, I looked at it, I'm like, that's a super sledge. It's just a rocket-assisted sledgehammer. You just need that extra little oomph.
Hey, like I said, it's a cool way to whack somebody, like literally. Whack them right in the head. Bye, everybody.
And now, folks, it's time to say goodnight. We sincerely appreciate your patronage and hope we've succeeded in bringing you an enjoyable evening of entertainment. Please drive home carefully and come back again soon. Good night.